Oh. Hello. How are we? Are we live? Yes, we're live. Welcome to Warriors of Attraction. We are back after our 2-week break. I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling refreshed. I'm recovered from my procedure, so I'm all right. If people want to know if they're worried, I'm all right. I know Andrea was praying. I know Cynthia was praying. I know a few others were. They kept checking to see how I was, but no, I'm all right. I'm here. I'm kicking ass. Tonight, overcoming your inner wounds. Now, this could to do with trauma or anything like that. I could learn something. So this could be a trigger warning to anyone out there that we are not, our intentions aren't to trigger anyone. We're just here to help and guide. So I'm going to bring my wonderful co-host, Andrea Evans, onto the show.
Hey,
Hello.
everyone. Yay, we're glad to be back. Adam, I'm glad you're doing well.
I'm fine, on. I'm fine.
Yes.
Please share this all as well. Please share.
Yes.
Please share. Yes, we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. We are everywhere.
Everywhere.
So, how has your couple of weeks been?
My couple of weeks has been quite busy, but it's been productive work, and a lot of that has included a lot of self-care. I use a lot of the tools that, we learn on our show, and, we're better for it. I have to say I'm better for it. So I'm feeling ready to go, energized. Let's dig in. Trigger warning, though.
Yeah. I know this could be a trigger to people, so I hope everyone is fine. Our guest tonight, I kept having to look at his name all this time. I have been doing it for the last 3 weeks since I booked him on. Don St. John. I don't know if that's Irish, Scottish, but he's laughing in the background, so I'm clearly making some mistakes. Don, you're in for a hell of a treat because Andrea knows what I'm like. I'll just come back and say it as it is.
Yeah.
So we will see you shortly when I can find it. There you are.
All right.
Come on. And welcome back. And I saw Andrea dancing there in the background as usual.
I love our theme song.
Oh, you do. Welcome, Don.
Thank you. It's good to be here talking to both of you.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. Irish?
Actually, 100% Italian.
Oh,
how did that happen?
We need to talk about that. We need to talk about that.
In the conversation, we might get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Do you want to kick-start this, Andrea?
Well, we're really happy to have you, Don St. John. And I love Italian. My grandfather used to call me the Italian granddaughter because I used to make pretty good lasagna from scratch,
Very
so, good. Yeah, family, I feel like, Italian. Yeah, we related. Yeah, a connection.
Great start. Great connection.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit of a background on your story, Don. I don't know if St. John's hyphenated or anything like that. So, is Don okay?
Don is great. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's short for anything like Dominic or something like that. I don't know.
Nope. Don. Don St. John, just how it sounds. Now, my story, Adam and Andrea, started 80 years ago. 5 weeks from now will be 80 years. So it's been a long time, a pretty long story. And, I grew up in a tenements building outside of New York City. And there was a considerable amount of both physical and emotional violence in my home. And screaming and hollering was, just part of the daily environment. And the violence was mostly directed towards me and my brother, and mostly from my mother, who, on one hand, I loved dearly. On the other, she was terrifying because she could not control her impulses. She was very frustrated by the environment that she grew up in. Specifically, she was a very passionate woman who had dreams of a career of her own, but she didn't have the courage to pursue them and succumb to, marrying someone who suited the family, and, complained about it for the next 50 years. So that was my early environment. And I went in the Air Force right after high school, and the relationship broke up, and I started drinking heavily. And, one morning I found myself in the back seat of my car, 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and I noticed I was bleeding internally from my throat. And I had the thought, well, the first was get to the hospital, but the second was you need help. And I went to the Yellow Pages, found the psychiatrist who worked on Saturday, and because that was my day off. And that began a journey that continues to this day, approximately 60 years. And I've come to a very interesting perspective that I'd like to share with you, because I think it's a little different than what you typically hear. And that is, I believe that the healing journey is for everyone, not just those who have serious issues, those who wake up in the back of their car bleeding from their throat, or those who are depressed, or those who have a chronic physical ailment that they can't easily heal, and they begin a journey. In a sense, I think we're the more fortunate ones, because the pain provides the initial push, the motivation to go searching. But after all these years, I've come to believe sincerely that we all, each and every one of us, because I think it's our spiritual journey. I think they're synonymous. Healing journey, the spiritual journey. I think that's what we're here on the planet to do.
What do you think, Andrea?
I think that he touched deep in my soul, because I could relate to him living life as his mother knew it. I have 7 children, and they the older ones really live life as I knew it. You know what I'm saying? But I heard you say that having the courage to get up and change that situation in your mindset. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm blessed that I have the ability, and the tools and the people in my life, because I'm definitely not doing it all by myself. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It took a lot of support and stuff like that. So I can resonate from the mama's perspective, your mom, you know what I'm saying? And being bitter and the things that you described. And to be able to sit here and feel that and be like, wow, hearing it from from a child's point of view of the mother, because I've heard it from mine too, believe me. You know, you know, it's powerful. That was powerful, a powerful moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is what we need to question: is what do people actually know what goes on in someone's mind? Because obviously, there's a lot of judgmental comments, egos, gaslighting. All this is happening, and speaking as a man, we're being targeted as perpetrators when technically we can be victims just as much as females.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dom?
Oh, for sure. I think we can all be victims.
Yeah.
And I think part of the healing process, one of the most important realizations that I had along the way was that even though those things happened to me, you know, I was, 1 years old, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, they were happening to me. At the same time, I was the one writing the story. That is, I was the one, even in a child's mind, beginning to write the story about what that meant. That was huge, a huge moment in my life because, oh, okay, if I had the wherewithal, I could have looked and said, wow, these people sure don't know how to raise kids. I think I'm just going to hang back, for 18 years. I'll go do my own thing, get out of their way. But, the story that I wrote, and it's the story that most kids in that situation would write, is that there was something wrong with me. I was bad, that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't be good enough.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that because obviously, as I said this morning in my interview, obviously growing up, I was victimized and abused by my own family, and I was put on the child protection plan, and I was abused, and I was actually programmed and brainwashed to believe all of that was my fault.
Right.
And obviously, you're right, Don. We are our own narrator of our own books, but books of our life. But now the transformation comes in as we get older and we see more of the world within ourselves. We now manifest to say, hang on a minute, all that shit never happened to us. It was our fault. It happened because something is going on in their lives. And they're basically taking, not like obviously it's right to say that they're doing it, but what they're doing was wrong, but they're actually setting their anger and letting their emotions be heard, be in a physical way or a sexual way or whatever. So it's all about how we move forward from that.
Right.
That is powerful. That is powerful what you both said. It helps me to envision, my abuse as a child from the hands of someone in our family, and realizing that, yeah, I did write the narrative. I chose to leave my body. You know what I mean? I was able to disassociate myself and leave, and go to protection of a circle of women in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Or, that was my reality. Instead of, just being there. I couldn't be there in the moment. It was too traumatic for me. So I had to leave, and realizing that, wow. And then I didn't want to hurt the family. So I never said anything.
Yeah.
you know, until it all blew up all around us. You know what I'm saying? In different areas, and it was probably the best. It was the best thing that ever happened. But you're right. I made a decision. I'm not gonna tell anyone because I don't want to hurt them. I didn't. This is like pivotal right now. A realization that I'm having. So,
each other, aren't
yeah.
so excuse me, you know, but I'm in the midst of receiving what y'all are saying.
Yeah.
And you know, there's something in here that has applicability in so many areas of our life, and I think I like to call it and consciousness. You know,
Right.
it happened to me. That's true. It did. It happened to me. You know,
just a little bit. Explain what that is for people that don't know.
Explain what is, Adam?
That what you've just said.
Yeah, that often we have to hold two things that are apparently contradictory.
Right.
Okay, they're not, but they seem to be. It happened to me, and I'm the author of my life.
Yeah.
Both. And, you know, that doesn't eliminate the importance of compassion and self-compassion, because some pretty horrendous things happen to us. Yeah. And, you know, when we look back on that, it's important that we, you know, hold that with tenderness, with compassion.
Yeah.
Even as we take the power to claim authorship of our lives. Did that make sense?
Absolutely.
It does. I'm living it right now, you know, because life is a process. We continue to evolve if we're willing to learn and grow, you know, and what you just said, that's what it's going to take for people to be able to move forward and not be stuck right there in the pain and the trauma of it all. Yeah. Write your narrative. Write it, people. Write your narrative so that you can move on into something more beautiful and something more peaceful and something that's you. You know what I mean?
There's a saying out there, isn't there, that we are obviously we are our greatest teacher. We are. There is not one teacher out there that is greater than ourselves in choosing our own lives, our own pathway. But at the same time, we are our own judge, jury, and executioner.
For sure.
There's that saying, isn't there? I've not said that statement in years.
But it's so real, you know. We're our hardest critics.
We are, and the question is why?
We've learned that's a way to be safe. It's like, you know, it's a way to be close to our initial critics, usually our parents. You know, we're accepting their perspective and sometimes making it even harsher.
It's that cycle.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've been programmed to believe that everything's basically, like for me, everything was all the answers were bottom of a beer bottle or a beer can. But probably my parents were brainwashed and programmed to believe what their ancestors went through. So it's all that, but it's up to us today to break that cycle for the next generation.
And I think that's what we're doing, Adam. I think
we are doing it. I know Andrea is.
Yes.
Yeah, and doing shows like this, and this information wasn't available. Certainly not available to my parents. I don't know about you.
No. When I was young, YouTube didn't exist or anything like that. It didn't.
When I was real young, television didn't exist.
Well, we had television. We at least had some television. I think that was a lot of probably the family time, though. You know what I mean? Those supports they're important. Those social supports in your life, they're important. I can't deny that because I'm a product of it. I know that that's part of why I'm a warrior. We ain't gonna say survivor, a warrior, because I'm managing things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm evolving and changing, and that's what we have to do. We can't hold on to that. Like you said, write our narrative. We've been writing it all along. So we are what we write, what we tell ourselves.
Exactly. The big difference is once we realize that we're writing it all along, then we have a whole lot more influence, more power over what we write.
So I want to take you right back, Dom, to when you was going through those traumatic experiences. And probably I'll jump on you as well, Andrea, here. But when did you both realise, right, it's time I got my shit together. It's time for that reality check. And it's time to move on from that bad experience.
Andrea?
It took a lot of time. It took a lot of time. It did. I mean, and if I look at it based on relationships, then it's like 7 years here, 8 years there. So that's a lot of time being stuck, isn't it? I mean, the way when I look back at it now. So I've gotten better. Things have, because my mindset, I've learned a lot of things, that has helped me to be able to be where I'm at today and to see things in the light that I do today. I just continue to learn and grow, from it.
Yeah.
And be able to be here. It's hard, but I don't let it hurt me anymore.
Good.
Now is probably where that's happening. I don't allow it to really affect me like that.
Andrea, I'm going to pick up on a couple of things you said there. Yes, okay. It's hard. It's hard, yes, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember back in my day, obviously when I was going through group therapy with my own mental well-being, I obviously went to the doctors and I said, I'm finding this therapy hard. He went, right, so why are you doing it then? It's like, I couldn't respond to that. I didn't know what to say. But then I came home and I had a Facebook message waiting for me. So how did it go today? And it's a person from school. And I went, oh, it's fine. I found it really hard. He went, good. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, if you find it easy, then something's not working. So that's how it is. Okay. You have to go through this to do this.
Yeah.
But then there's I can't remember what the other one you said now. But yeah, it's one of them. You just have to keep going.
I agree. It's a journey, and along the way, we get insights that help us, that facilitate the process. I remember, for the first 3 or 4 years after I started therapy back in the 60s, I assumed it was all in my head.
Right.
And then, through study and reading and experiencing, one of the biggest insights that I've had is that the impacts, the insults, the traumas, the wounds of life affect us as whole organisms.
Right.
Everything, our very tissues, our muscles, our connective tissue, our blood, our nervous system, everything is influenced. Okay? And the way that the understanding of mind body that goes back thousands of years and has resulted in institutions that perpetuate that division, that split of mind body, got to bring it together because it's the whole being, the psychology, my whole thought structure, my belief structure, my physical structure, my movement, my spirituality, all is affected by those wounds. and no one escapes. That's the other part. Some of us, the wounds were so intense, we had to do something about it or really suffer.
Yeah, absolutely. See, when you was talking there, Don, I thought, right, I have to shut up here because we're actually giving away a little bit of what's going to happen next week on the show, which the topic, Andrea, you're going to love this. But so I'll say it at the end. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It is all about how we're responding to this, because this is why, without sounding age discriminating, this is why I always say today, kids today do not know how to be kids. Because growing up, through all the abuse that I experienced, I was never inside. I was connected to nature. When I was at school, I was being taught lies, but when it was a nice sunny day, we was outside, and that's what today should be. But no, the kids are stuck in a classroom, and that's wrong.
Oh, not only that, they're stuck in front of their phones.
Yeah.
Exactly. Phones, devices, even televisions.
Everything. Everything. It's a serious problem.
Well, this is what I've done with my kids, because obviously there's a hell of a kickoff work because we're raising two autistic kids who practically act like twins. They don't like having technology away from them. They hate that. But when they've got it away from them for too long, they find something else, and that is when the creativity comes out in them. And like, obviously, my son, he can do maths, he can sing, he can dance, he can draw, he can play a piano. He's learning how to play a guitar, and all this is away from technology. And this is what I'm trying to get inside him, that yes, technology is good and it's a learning curve,
Right.
but it's when you're away from it, that's when your creativity comes out. Because in schools, they're drumming this creativity out of the kids, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
Come on, Don. You talk to me about the education now. See, Andrea's shaking her. This is why I'm in jail, I'm in Facebook jail. I'm going to shut up now.
Oh my goodness. No, please. You already in the jail, in the Facebook jail. We don't want it to be longer. So yeah. Let's move back to I just went blank in the brain because I know you and that word. I can't even say the word. Starts with an E though.
But anyway, let's go back to the trauma.
Education.
Yes, Richard, I am in jail again. 30 days.
Oh my goodness. So yes. Oh my goodness. You're something else. That's all
I know. But yeah, it's what can we do? Like, what strategies can we do to? Because obviously, trauma it's unpreventable. But what can we do to basically say, like, find strategies to move forward with this? Go get a bottle of juice. Go get a bottle of juice.
Change that mindset to change the narrative. That's going to be a very pivotal for me personally, and I think it could be a tool for all of us to look at it from that perspective. That's strength based, you know.
Well, I think if we can, as a society, begin to value things like kindness, compassion, understanding, emotional connection, the things that influence your happiness such as your primary relationships.
Mm-hmm.
How are we taught to do that well? Where do we learn? How many of us would like to have the same relationship that our parents did? No. How about you, Andrea?
No, I can't say I would want that same relationship.
That's 0 out of 3 here, and probably reflects, much of the general population. So where do we learn? And it's one of the most profound influences on our day-to-day happiness. If we're happy at home with our partners, our mates, our families, it's easier to deal with the challenges of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a safe base to come back to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those supports I'm talking about. Yes.
Yes, those supports. And
well, you got the Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah.
To say me and Andrea are on other sides of the pond, we're getting on right, aren't we, hon?
Yes. Yes.
She loves me.
Yes. 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 But yeah, that's right on the money right there, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know how much value we place on the gross national product, and how much money is being earned and spent, and our wellness is equated with our financial place. Right? There's so many other indicators. How healthy are we?
Mm-hmm.
How are our relationships? How are the kids doing? It's just a matter of focus, and it's hard to change. And I think it changes from the bottom up, kind of like this. 3 people get together and talk about it and think about it, and talk to your friends about it, and more people are going to therapists, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole somatic field is beginning to mushroom and become more popular.
Yeah. The reason I'm like this and tried to stay quiet because you mentioned the word money.
Money?
And you mentioned the word money. And it's like I've got a lot to say when it comes to money and mental health, because I believe the mental health industry, it's so underfunded, and there's just not enough happening in the world. But obviously that's next week.
Okay.
Which I may as well give away the topic now. It's how society is demonizing mental health.
Oh.
Mm. Mm.
Do you think another Facebook ban's going to happen next week?
Will.
Look, I'm ready to jump in on that right now, but we gonna wait.
We'll wait. Hold on, guys. We'll wait. That's for next week.
Let me breathe.
Still, after all these years, after all these decades, and yet, in all fairness, Adam, Andrea, if you look at how it was 50 or 60 years ago,
I do.
I think we've come a long way towards every third person out there has a therapist. I don't know how it is in England, but
I can tell you. Obviously, I know people's got their views on COVID and all that, but obviously, I'm not going to get into that. But it's come out. COVID has become the biggest threat to mental health since World War II. And obviously, when it comes to therapists, they've actually increased the prescription medication and decreased access to therapists. That's what they've done here.
Here, it was very hard to find a therapist who had availability in the last years. I had to turn away approximately 50 people in a year and a half.
Wow. That's the same here in Nebraska too. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's true all over in this country anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And funding funding is one of the major barriers.
It is. It is. And we'll get into that all next week. It is.
Okay,
But
I just had to
but
throw that in
going
there.
back to inner trauma, inner trauma, it's well technically tonight's show and next week's show, it goes hand in hand, doesn't it? In a way.
Yeah.
So technically next week's going to be part 2.
Yeah.
So Don, if you ever want to come back next week, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome to. All you need to do is just let us know at the same time next week.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we close to the end of the show here, or we got?
No. We can go as long as we want. Andrea, have you got anything to say?
I tell you, this is a very pivotal show. I always learn. From shows. I always learn. But the tie-in for this one, it's going to give me that mindset of that warrior just going for it. Just, rewriting that script, I love that. I have a whole new lease on life right now. That's what I have to say.
Yes.
Let me say some more words about rewriting that story. As we write that story, our whole organism is affected.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's good on this journey towards wholeness. It's good to look through 4 different lenses. And I think they're all important, and I think they're all interrelated. And the first lens is the body. Now, this is interesting and could be a little challenging, but see, there's the body from the outside, the body that when you look at me, you see, right? And there's also the body from the inside. That is the body that you feel. Okay? So I can see, Adam, your left shoulder, but you don't feel your shoulder, you feel sensations.
I feel energized.
You feel energy. You feel the movement. And that reflects the connection that your consciousness or your spirit has with your body.
Yeah.
And a big part of this journey, from my perspective, is continuing to increase that connection.
Right.
That connection to our arms and legs, that connection to our pelvis and guts and heart, the connection to our back. And that connection does a number of things. Among the most important are it informs our sense of ourself. When I started 60 years ago, I could feel nothing below my body. Andrea, you spoke of leaving your body. I went into my head, and I lived inside my head, and I couldn't feel anything below my head. And the way that that comes about is the tension was so strong that there was no way to feel anything. So that's a huge loss of sense of self, and also influences my capacity to connect with other people. As my sense of self expands, there's more of me to connect with you. So that's one lens to look through on this journey. The other one is our psychological, emotional. For example, we all have a personal system of commandments. Thou shalt and thou shalt not. right? You know what I mean? Shoulds and should nots. And we all have it. You can examine to see what yours are. And on this journey, we want to look and see what we're believing, what we think we should be doing or being, and what we should not, to see that they're life supportive, life enhancing, okay, versus life diminishing. Example, you should not feel any sexual feelings at all until you're married and only with your spouse. Period. No feeling.
Everyone's different.
Huh?
Everyone's different. I've got kids and I've never been married.
Okay.
Everyone's different.
Do you see what I mean? In terms of examining your own and seeing what supports your life and what doesn't.
That's right.
The third lens is our relational lens. How's our ability to really be close to another human being? And for when I started, it was impossible. Anybody tried to get close to me, and I would beg, like, my wife to come and get close to me so I could punch her in the nose. That was the attachment style. Come close, please come close. Took a long time to be able to really be close to someone and maintain my own sense of freedom, independence, autonomy. It's part of this journey. And the fourth lens is our spirituality. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Like we've had a good talk.
It has been a good talk, hasn't it, Andrea?
Yes. Yes, I wrote those down. That's more for me to reflect on, and like you said, as we go on our journeys. So thanks, Don.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And again, if you want to come back next week, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, I'll look at my schedule. And can I mention my book?
Yeah, go on then.
The new one just came out. It's called Healing the Wounds of Childhood and Culture, subtitled An Adventure of a Lifetime.
Awesome.
Yeah. If you'd like me to tell you my name story, I can end on that note.
Go on then. Go on then.
Okay. Well, when my mother was pregnant, she and my father had planned to name me John after his father. But she got into a fight with him somewhere in her pregnancy, and for spite, named me Don instead. They took me to the Catholic Church to be baptized, and the priest said, nope, that's not a Catholic name. And so they put John on the baptism certificate. And then they forgot about it, and I was Don for 5 years at home. And then I went to Catholic school. And they didn't care that I was born. They wanted to know that I was baptized. So when they looked, the certificate said John. So I started as John in school. So those who knew me from school knew me as John. Those who knew me from family knew me as Don. Of course, then I went into the Air Force, and they didn't care that I was baptized. They wanted my birth certificate, so I was Don again. Okay, the last sentence I'm about to say is not exactly true. Everything I said up until now is the way it happened. The last sentence is a little twist. So I took Don and I took John and I made myself a saint for putting up with all that bullshit.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Right. Thanks for coming on, Don.
St. John.
Exactly. Yeah.
John.
Right. That's it.
Be well, and thank you again.
You're most welcome. Please share this all, and we'll see you next week as we discuss society demonizing mental health. Expect a Facebook fan, Adam. See you in a bit.
Hey, signing off.